أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وأفضل الصلاة وأتم التسليم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين ورضي الله تعالى عن السادة التابعين وعلماء العاملين وأئمة الأربعة المجتهدين ومقلديهم إلى يوم الدين أما بعد السلام عليكم. Alhamdulillah, I just wanted to make a short video on something that just happened to me about an hour ago. And, alhamdulillah, I intended to be all alone making this video, primarily for the Facebook audience and then whoever sees it later on our YouTube channel. But alhamdulillah, Allah bless me to have, people here in the masjid so we can have people benefiting directly here as well as, whoever sees it, by means of social media. I decided to call this video a slow walk to an ambush. Slow walk to an ambush. And I say that slow walk to an ambush because maybe, for example, like especially if you come from the street and somebody may come to your hood that's really not familiar, and maybe, for example, you may be setting them up to get robbed, but they think you there to help them. Yo, excuse me, how can I get from such and such? Oh, do you know such and such? Yeah, I know them. They live right over there. When we take you to their house, yeah. They take you to some dark alley somewhere or some spot, and you thinking they there to help you, but they there to get you robbed, jumped, killed, or whatever the situation may be. Yeah. And so I call this like a slow walk to an ambush because, and the subtitle is a polite debate on Sadl. And Sadl is one of the terms used to describe somebody that when they pray in Salah, that they release their hands. They don't grasp their hands. Sadl means like to release or to relax your hands. So basically praying with your hands by the side is called Sadl. It's also called irsal yadain, like releasing the arms or the hands. Alhamdulillah. So I was at another masjid for Salatul Asr. I was on my way from home from work, and alhamdulillah, I had to use the bathroom, and the masjid was right there in the route, and it was maybe about 10 minutes before they established Salatul Asr there. And so alhamdulillah, I used the bathroom. You brothers say you know what masjid it is because I already told you, but they got nice new bathrooms there. Alhamdulillah. And so after I use the bathroom, make wudu, come out, I walk into the musalla area, and there's a brother there. And I didn't look at the clock, but I asked him, did he pray yet? And he said, no, we're going to wait a few minutes. And I looked at the clock, and it was about 4 minutes or so before they established the salat, which is 3 o'clock. So I said, good, alhamdulillah, it gives me a chance to make sunnah. So I make my sunnahs. And, when I pray for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I don't pray for who's around me or who may see me or whatever. So I pray the way I always pray, with my hands to the side. And so obviously the brother was watching me. It was just us two in there. And so as I salam out and come to him, and walk over, because I prayed in the corner. So I walked over to him. And so this is where the slow walk begins. He says, Assalamu alaikum, wa alaikum salam. What's your name, brother? So I told him my name, Naeem, and he misheard me. He said, oh, Rahim, alhamdulillah. I said, no, my name is Naeem, Abdullah. I said, alhamdulillah. So he said, alhamdulillah, this is the slow walk, Alhamdulillah. You from Pittsburgh? Yeah, alhamdulillah. Oh, yeah, alhamdulillah. He said, what masjid do you go to? I said, I go to Masjid al-Mu'min. He said, where is that? He named some other part of town. I said, no, it's on the east end. It's like Larimer, East Liberty area. And he acted like he didn't hear me. He still named some other area on the other side of town. And then he said, and then I said, I'm the Imam there. He said, oh, okay, alhamdulillah. Now, the brother looked familiar to me, but it didn't register at the time. And he said, so how many people a part of Masjid Movement. Like, how many people go there? And I told him, very small number. So then he says, oh, do they follow any school of thought there? See the slow walk, right? Do they follow any school of thought there? I said, yeah, Maliki school of thought. He said, oh, okay, alhamdulillah, yeah, alhamdulillah. He said, what did he say after that? He said, I said, what's your name? He told me his name. And then he said, yes, I used to be the Imam of this other masjid in the city and that other masjid in the city. And I still give khutbahs here and there. So I said, okay, alhamdulillah. And so, and for people that are not familiar with the dynamics here in Pittsburgh, I'm like a new generation Imam here, because unlike a lot of other urban areas where it's predominantly African American Muslims, in Pittsburgh, the predominant is immigrant Muslims. And so this masjid here has been here since about 1989. I'm the fourth Imam here. And most people are familiar with the second Imam that we had here, Imam Tariq Ismaili, rahimahullah. And so a lot of people don't know me. And so, and that's kind of like my fault, because I'm a recluse. I need to get around more. Even though I like to go and pray at other masjids, but a lot of times my schedule doesn't permit me. But in any case, this is one of the times I'm able to pray another masjid, and this is what happened. So I'm getting a slow walk, right? So he tells me his name and, you know, I used to be the Imam at. And he says, he asked me about the prayer. Because I guess in his mind, once I said Maliki, I'm assuming he didn't say this, but maybe he wanted to see maybe if I was Shia or something. I don't know. But now when I said Maliki, now I think in his mind he says, okay, I got him, right? So he's slow walking me. So he says, the prayer, you know, why do people, why do the Maliki people, why do they pray with their hands to the side, right? In his mind, he already thinks he has the answer. I said, well, they're learning it from Imam Malik, which is an answer I usually don't give. But in my mind, I'm thinking that it's time for Salat. You know, we're going to make Salat. I'm trying to cut it short. And I usually, when somebody questions me about why I pray the way I pray, I don't mention Imam Malik. Usually people expect you to mention Imam Malik. And so, but I gave that answer. And then he said, well, I learned, I study a little bit, and, Imam Malik, his shoulder was dislocated. And when he went there, I had to contain myself from smiling and laughing, right? Because that's an old argument, an argument that don't have no isnad to it, at least in the English language. That lie that he's about to tell me got promoted by one of Bilal Phillips' book. I believe it's The Evolution of Fiqh. I have that book, and in there he mentions that. But in any case, Imam Malik's shoulder was dislocated, and he began to say they didn't have MRI, they didn't know why it was dislocated. I'm like, oh, that's a new twist. I never heard that twist to that argument. So I said, no, we know why it was dislocated, because the Aamiri have tortured him, because he gave a fatwa that he didn't like. And he said, oh, okay, so yeah, right? And then so he says, so this is why he prayed like that. I said, no, that's not why he prayed like that. I said he prayed like that before his shoulders was dislocated. I said even in books, fiqh books that was written by his students, quote Imam Malik directly, as in fact Imam Malik himself said is makruh to pray with your hands cubbed, right grasped or right over left in the fard prayer, but he said it's jaiz or permissible to pray with your right hand over your left in a nawafil prayer. And so he asked me, did you read the book Kaifa, How the Prophet Prayed? He's referring to the book by Albani. I said, I'm familiar with the book. I have the book, right? He says, in there, it's a beautiful book, right? So, again, I'm trying to contain myself. I said, yeah, I have the book. And so he says, this book, it tells you. I said, I have that book. I said, but you have to understand, the people that follow Imam Malik, the reason why they pray with their hands by the side like Imam Malik is because the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam prayed like that. And so, when you say that, they usually go, whoa, wait a minute. Like, they don't know whether to get offended, like you lying on the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam or what. So they're like, whoa. And so, he said, where? Is there confirmed proof? I said, yeah, there's a lot of proof. I said, I'll give you an example. In the Sunan of Abu Dawud, there's a hadith narrated by Abu Humayd al-Sa'di. And he gives a whole demonstration on the salat in front of 10 other Sahaba. He interrupted me when I was about to say that. And then he said, what did he say? He went back to this book about how good it was, and he talks about all the other things, and about the complete prayer. I said, yes, I know about the book. I have the book. I'm about to tell you about a hadith that is not included in that book. I don't know why it's not included, because it's the only hadith that I'm aware of where Sahaba demonstrated the complete salat, the prayer of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, from beginning to the end. I don't know why he didn't include it in the book, but he said, then the brother said, is it sound? I said, yes, it's sound. I said, again, it's in Sunan Abu Dawud, in the Kitab al-Salat, in the book of Salat. The Sahaba's name, who's doing this demonstration, is Abu Humayd al-Sa'di, radiallahu ta'ala anhu. And he said, I know the Salat of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam better than any of you. And the Sahaba said, how can this be when you weren't a companion as long as we were? He was a brand new Sahaba. He didn't spend as much time with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam like a lot of those Sahaba. You had Abu Qatada who was there. You had Abu Huraira who was there, who himself was a young Sahaba. He spent less than 3 years with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You had Sadl ibn Sadl who was there, and he's very important too, because he narrates a hadith that Imam Malik mentions in his Muwatta that says we were commanded to pray with our right hand over our left. And so a lot of people usually bring that hadith to prove that you got to pray right hand over left. But again, this is what happens when you don't have an isnad, when you don't study under teachers. You just take in the hadith and you're not learning what the scholars have said about those hadith. So the main proof that a lot of them use to say you have to pray with your right hand over your left, the Sahaba who narrated that hadith is one of the Sahaba watching this demonstration that we're talking about. And so he says, and so in this hadith, I'm paraphrasing, I didn't mention the whole hadith. I said, in the hadith, he went through the whole salat, and then when he got to the part after he raised his hands equal to his shoulder, he said, Yakira kulla azmin fi mawdi'ihi mu'tadila, which means he let all of his limbs settle in their proper places, right? So I mentioned that to him, and then I skipped to the end of the hadith, and I said, when he did this whole demonstration of 2 rakats, and he finished, all of the Sahaba said, Nam hakada yusali Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Yes, this was the prayer of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And so then he asked me again, is this hadith sound? I said, yes, because he keeps throwing Sheikh Albani's name at me. And I'm trying to hold my tongue on that. But so he keeps throwing, I said, yes. I said, the hadith is sound. I said, in fact, Albani's book, Sahih Sunnah of Abu Dawud, I said, and I'm looking for confirmation that he's familiar with the book, because Albani, he took a lot of hadith and he chopped out all of the hadith he thought was no good. Like Sunan of Abu Dawud, he has Sahih Sunan Abu Dawud. I have it, right? And so I'm referring to this book. And I said, Sheikh Albani left that hadith in that collection. So Albani sees this hadith to be sound. He said, oh. He said, yeah. I said, yeah. He said, I have to check this out. I said, yeah, it's there. He said, is there taqreej? Like, is there a commentary on it? I said, yeah, there's a lot of commentary on this hadith. He said, this is well known. I said, this hadith is also in Ibn Majah, right? Another hadith collection. And when you go to Ibn Majah, the phrase that we have here is another different Arabic term that's narrated in the hadith, even giving further affirmation that because in the narration of Ibn Majah, I can't remember the Arabic off the top of my head, but it literally means he relaxed his bones. So if your hands is right over left, it's not relaxed. You know, because somebody can argue and say, well, what's the regular place in this hadith right here? But in the hadith in Ibn Majah, he says it literally means he relaxed his bones, literally. So I mentioned that to him, and then he's like, wow, he didn't really have any argument. I said, that hadith, that narration about, him getting beaten and all that stuff, that ain't no isnad. That's made up. Then he tried to throw, well, I have, a bachelor's degree in Islamic studies, and I've studied for the masters, but I didn't get my master's. I said, okay, alhamdulillah. But I said, do you know many Sahaba also pray like that? I'm about to go in, right? I forgot about the Salat now. I'm about to go in. And then he's like, no, I said, yeah. See, I said, the way the Malikis understand it, they understand that qabd, praying with your right hand over the left. Yes, the Prophet ﷺ did it, but it's mansukh, it's abrogated. In other words, yes, the Prophet ﷺ did that at one time when he made hijrah from Mecca to Medina. He started praying with his hands by his side, and I was about to give him proofs for that, but it was kind of like interrupted, and it was all polite. It wasn't hostile or anything like that. And so then he just he kept asking me, "Is it sound?" Yes, it sound. It sound. I said, it's well known. It's easy to look it up. It's like it ain't no secret hadith from some unknown hadith collection that we just found 2 years ago. It's well known. I said the hadith is also in Bukhari. The same situation that's being narrated is in Bukhari. Except in Bukhari's narration, it doesn't mention where the hands were in Salat. But I say in Abu Dawud and Ibn Majah, it mentions where the hands were placed. And then we made Salat, and then as we was going off to make Salat, he made it his business to tell me, because I assumed he wasn't trying to pray behind me. He made his business to say, I memorized Quran, so I'm going to lead Salat. I like, alhamdulillah, yes, you lead. I said, yes, you lead, alhamdulillah, and I called the Iqamah. When I go to another masjid, I don't try to lead anyway, but, I guess he had to put that out there, I know the Quran, so how you know I don't know the Quran? Right? But anyway, you don't know me, so how do you know I'm not Hafiz, right? But in any case, alhamdulillah. And I just wanted to narrate that situation because that hasn't happened to me for a long time, so I found it kind of amusing. But I think this is very important too. And when the incident happened, I just walked away, got back after Salat, got back in my car and went about my business. And then I remembered. I don't even remember who it was on Facebook, but one of my Facebook friends, I think he lives somewhere in the Midwest. I don't even remember what state it was. It's just something I saw on my news feed. I clicked on it, read the comments. It was only about a handful of comments there, and I kept going. But somebody said that they in a dilemma. They basically getting tired of praying Sadl at home and then praying qabd at the masjid. And people got on and say, yeah, the life of a Maliki in America, or something like that. And somebody else said, where you at, what masjid you go to, and, what kind of community it is. And he said it, whatever. And, to me, that's strange because I'm not praying for you, him. I prayed qabd for about, I don't know, since 1991 up until 2001. So I prayed qabd for 10 years, right? And I've been praying Sadl from 91 onwards. And so, for me, I'm the type of person, I'm not going to change what I'm doing unless, I'm clear about it, And in this type of hostile environment where people are being taught that the way I'm teaching you is the right way and every other way is wrong. So when people see something different, it's all of, they automatically think it's wrong and they don't understand nothing about difference of opinion, and most people don't understand these things. So, being a Maliki, even now, but especially 10, 15 years and beyond ago, just almost everywhere was a hostile environment. Like, follow the madhab is you in a hostile environment in America. But being a Maliki, when people see you make a salat, it differs a lot from the other schools because, like the Hanafis, they pray with their right hand over the left, but most of them it's like right near the navel or below the navel, the belly button. And most other people pray with their right hand over their left, above their navel to some shape, form, or fashion. and they may grasp their arms on they may grasp their forearms or their wrists, but for the most part, it looks the same. You see a Maliki, his hands to the side. We stand out like a sore thumb, right? Uh, Not to speak of, saying Ameen silently or doing the one taslim, the one salam to the right where you actually move your head. And so, but that's what stands out, praying with your hands to the side. So you being Maliki, you get it. So, when I first started following madhabs, it was almost like, okay, we going to enemy territory. Let me strap up. All right, I got this hadith right here. I got all the Sahaba that pray like that. I memorized them. What book can you find the proof in? It's sad we got to be like this among Muslims, but this is the way it was. So it's like, all right, who want to say something? So that ain't happened to me in a long time. But people usually wait for you to say, well, Imam Malik, and then they go repeat that lie, about the reason. That's the reason why he prayed like that. That's evil, because what they're not saying is that, okay, Imam Malik, his shoulders were dislocated, so he couldn't pray with his right hand over his left, and so therefore he gave fatwa and gave a legal ruling for the whole ummah based upon him getting his shoulder dislocated. Because he spoke about it, and it's mentioned in the Mudawwana that he, I mentioned earlier in the beginning of this video that he said is makruh to pray in the fard prayer with your right hand over your left. But again, there's difference of opinion, and we spoke yesterday on difference of opinion. We're not knocking anybody, pray the way you've been taught to pray. But I say this, one of the reasons why I don't mention Imam Malik normally when I discuss this issue is because the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Salu kama yara'aytumuni yusalli." Pray the way you see me pray. And this hadith is mutawatir. It's one of the phrases I coined, super sahih. In other words, there's no way this hadith is weak or fabricated, and it is the highest level of authenticity to such an extent that to reject or refute or deny this hadith is like rejecting the ayat of Quran. So the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, pray the way you see me pray. So when you see Malikis praying with their hands by their side, they're not praying like that because Imam Malik prayed like that. They're praying like that because the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam prayed like that. Our prayer is based upon the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, not anybody else. Imam Malik prayed like that because the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam prayed like that. Salu kama ra'aytumuni yusalli. Pray the way you see me pray. This is what the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said. He didn't say pray the way you see, the imams that come after me. Pray the way pray the way you see me pray. This is a fi'l amr. This is a command. So if somebody from Ahlus Sunnah wal Jamaa'ah is praying a certain way, they have proofs that go directly back to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And so I just wanted to mention that, and I actually wanted to test out YouTube Live, but I couldn't do it. So we wanted to test out. I'm testing out different things because we're about to bring back Noodles of Man Radio, inshallah, but it's going to be on a different platform. It's going to be very interactive. Inshallah, the first week of January, we're going to pick that back up, inshallah. So I wanted to test that out, but had technical difficulties, inshallah. But, I pray this little information was beneficial, inshallah. And I also put it out there also just to, to give some encouragement to other people who, follow traditional schools who have a isnad, a connection back to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and your ibadah. Don't feel ashamed or like intimidated. Have people punk you into doing something that you don't even feel comfortable with doing. Your prayers between you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Don't let nobody punk you out of that. To me, I don't understand it. A lot of us was gangsters, thugs in the street. We didn't care how anybody thought of us. Whatever time period you come from, you wore the craziest fashions, and you didn't care what your grandparents, your parents thought, the people in your school thought you dressed, even though you was crazy, in what you dress, in the way you dress, and the music you listen to, and all the stuff we did in the Jahiliyyah. But we come into Islam, and we worry about what everybody else has to think about us, and we have direct, clear proof from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So, we need to be, firm, not disrespectful, but firm in what we doing. Don't worry about so much the way I'm praying. Worry about the way you praying, and the way and if your prayer is being accepted. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. I hope this was of some benefit. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wa salatu wa salam ala Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد ان لا اله الا انت نستغفرك ونتوب اليك والعصر ان الانسان لفي خسر الا الذين امنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. السلام عليكم ورحمه الله وبركاته.